Hello. It has been quite the minute since I've made one of these kinds of videos, but we are going to be going over today the Godot beta that released for Pokemon Nexus, Nexus, PPO, if you will. This is more in line with a video I previously had made about the Pokeforce demo that came out last summer. And I know I said I'd be making a review video of their summer beta test that they did this year, but I played it for an hour and it's just more of the same stuff, and I don't think they're going in the right direction to where I would want to play the game personally. So I'm just not going to make the video because it's just, at this point, it'd just be overtly negative. But anyway, as it stands, I will be playing not only both the live server on the right, I will also be playing the beta server on the left and seeing how well I can multitask while also talking. Currently, we are hunting for a Veltal in the main servers, and then we're just in Cerulean Cave floor 4 because you get a lot of money here. So right now, as it stands, I don't know if you can tell, the battle system is way faster in the beta. It's not faster by a whole lot, but there's some stuff that they can do to, I guess, make it faster, because the things it doesn't update until after this line of text. Hold on, this one where it says your username won the battle, nothing updates in the game until after, obviously it's logged, but it doesn't actually physically update until that happens. But I will say the battles feel a lot cleaner, a lot smoother, despite not all the moves working, which I know this is just a bare bones skeleton of a build, and I'm not supposed to be expecting all of the moves and stuff to actually work. However, for what it is now, it's good. A couple of things that are new to the game is, I don't know if you can really tell, I'll have to go full screen here. There's a little hotbar down here. So I'm pretty sure if I click and drag something into the hotbar, we can just use it. So that's very nice. However, I don't know if that's really going to get in the way of grinding. Let me actually test that really quick. Okay, no, it doesn't. So that's a good thing. I think you can just click and drag off as well if you want to remove it. Love that. Another thing that's also new, there's a whole variety of new little cog wheels and stuff down here. So, for example, nearby Pokemon spawns. You click that up, and it tells you exactly what's here. You can obviously click and drag the window. When you click into it, it supersedes any window that's already up. So, for example, in here, at night, by the way, because there's a day-night cycle now, which we will get into that in a minute. Right now, there's Arbok as a commons, Golbat is a common, Dunsparce is a rare, and Seviper is a VR. Normal stuff that you would see here, I believe, in the main servers as well. But just the fact that you don't have to type /Pokemon anymore, very nice feature. And this will change, if you go into any different map, in real time. If you leave this window open, it'll change in real time, considering that the world doesn't have loading times anymore. That's another thing we will also get into, and my thoughts on that. But right now we're sticking to menus. There is a credit shop has been sort of revamped. There's also a search bar if you want to search for anything. So let's say I want an Ivy Reset, you just type Ivy Reset, boom, you buy it and you can gift it. Nothing new, I believe, has been added in terms of the credit store. So that about clears that up. You come to settings, and oh boy, here is where a lot of things that I want to talk about come into play. So obviously, display type, you can choose if you want a windowed version like how I have it, to be able to click and drag it and do split screen like how I'm doing is fine. You can do borderless, which is just full screen borderless, or you can do actually full screen. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the difference is between borderless and, full screen is. It just seems the same. But I like to play on windowed, just that way I can split screen the game, because right now you can play on the beta server, you can play on the main servers as well, and it doesn't count as dual accounting, or or multi-accounting, sorry, so that you don't get banned. It's nice. You can change the resolution, obviously. I have it on 1600 by 900. I think 1920 by 1080 is actually what I prefer. Never mind, I actually can't do that. It will not let me to do 1920 by 1080 without full screening it. Okay. There's an FPS limiter, so if you want to, if you look in the upper right hand corner, I've got an FPS thingy up here. In case your computer's not the greatest, you can set it to 30. If it's like Giga Chad computer, 120. Zoom level, obviously this is self-explanatory. You can zoom way the hell in, you can zoom way the hell out. Playing on 0.5x is my preferred. The UI scale, everything gets way the hell bigger. Player render limit, I haven't really had to run into this as an issue so far. You can set it to whatever you want. Brightness, it does go pretty dark actually, which I believe it goes darker than the main server, which is kind of hard to believe. Maybe it's about the same actually. You can't really tell on the video, but on my screen, the Godot beta is a little bit darker. However, it doesn't go to 0% on the Godot beta. It only goes to 10%. Moving into audio, obviously there's sliders, there's music in the game. I don't know if it's going to play or not. There's music, there's master volume, there's sound volume, which I assume... I'm not entirely sure what the sound volume is for. There's battle music if you want to play that. There's chat, which you can configure, which I'm pretty sure this is just kind of like a different version of the channel visibility of what you got going on in the main server. Moving on over to game, you can hide... or you can hide all the move animations, the battle item drop down. You can hide the battle background in case you wanted to like slash dark mode, similar to that. You can actually set different text speeds and the animation speeds. You can also show battle rewards and chat, which I have toggled on because there is everything in the beta is 10x as it currently stands. Very nice, by the way. It's fun to play on. You can show clan tags if somebody's in a clan. Like their name will have like a little clan tag next to it. Chat, auto scroll, we know about that. Rare drops to clan chat. I am not in a clan, so I don't know if this feature works right now. I don't know what they consider as a rare drop, but that is really cool. Like imagine you're in ancient dungeon grinding and you get a legendary bait and it shares it to chat and everyone's it's just another thing to bring your clan closer and be like, yo, GZ bro. Can obviously adjust chat size. I have mine as 16 because I'm blind as fuck. Default custom chat shortcut. It's in the main servers, it's the little hashtag. You do hashtag and then you type your message and it gets sent to the thing. I'm assuming there isn't one right now because you can't change it yet. What I personally recommend, I recommend toggling all three of these if you want the classic PPO feel. If you do not, your game is going to look like this. It's going to be darker. There is weather effects. So if it's raining, you'll see rain. If it's snowing or like, I think there might be dust storms. Don't quote me on the dust storms, but if it's raining, snowing, if you're on a map with snow, you'll be able to see that with the map effects. The lighting, the dynamic lighting, I'm not too big of a fan of. I'm very glad that you can just toggle that off. The overworld weather, like I said, you can just toggle that off. You can actually now hide decos on people so you know who's like what their base skin looks like, or if you just don't want that visual clutter on your screen, if you're in like a swarm, if you're in an event, very nice. You can hide mounts on other players, so if you see somebody with like a mount you don't like or find ugly, you can toggle that off. That's very nice. Global notifications, we know about this already. You can show your own player name, which is interesting, because over in the live server, you'll see that I don't actually have my name above my head. Showing the own player name, I don't know how I feel about this. This is fine for people who want it. I've been playing with it on just to get used to it. Clan tags above players, so if I was in a clan, it'd be above me, not to the left of me. And then you can actually toggle yourself on high scores, which we'll get into high scores in a little bit. So if I wanted to take myself off of high scores for any reason, you can do that. You can disable private message through here. You can disable requests as well as trade requests and stuff. Clan invites and custom chat invites. I assume that in the future these might get updated to be similar to how we have it currently in the thing, because you can allow direct messages from everybody, friends only or none, and that will impact your ability to talk in trade chat, receive, because as far as I know, you can't talk in trade chat or send a message in trade chat unless you have this direct messages setting set to all. Moving on to controls, here's where I think my first negative criticism comes up with this. In the main servers, you can use W, A, S, and D to move. You can use the arrow keys, and you can also use everybody's favorite method if you have a 10, or was it the keypad on your keyboard, which is the 6 and 4 method, because the 4 key doubles as the run button and also moving to the left. So people just hold down the 6 key, and then you just tap 4 or hold 4, and the 4 will override the 6, and then you can just, it's a 2-button game. It boils the game down to 2 buttons. However, coming to the control system on the Godot beta, that isn't a thing. You can't hold 6 and tap 4. You can't even use the arrow keys. It's WASD by default, which I'm pretty sure you can remap. You can remap to use like the arrow keys if I want to move up. I can move down, left, right, and just do that. However, moving to the left and the right, you can't double up. So let's see here. Where's it? Hotbar. I don't think, yeah. You can't actually like tap 4. Like, let's get an encounter here. You can't. Oh, I have it. I've got it backwards. Excuse me. My bad. So you can't hit 4 on the numpad, which is what I'm doing if you're hearing the clicking, to run anymore. I've got some mixed feelings about this. On the one hand, I like the fact that you can, customize keybinds. Like if you want to set your fishing key to spacebar, or you want to set it to, let's say, a foot pedal that you have, you can do that. However, I feel like taking away the keypad is going to make a lot of people mad. I personally do not like being forced out of that playstyle, because as I play, my wrists usually hurt, so I'm constantly switching between WASD, the arrow keys, and the 4 and 6 method. So if I'm to give any constructive criticism on this, I would say that going into the beta, or going into like the full live servers, completely wipe this part of the game controls binding. Just remove it entirely and just allow for the default WASD, arrow keys, 4 and 6, all of that to just work when we move to Godot servers. I feel like a lot of people would be very appreciative of this, and it would bring them a sense of normalcy going into this. However, there are a bunch of new hotkeys as well. So in addition to what we know for fishing, the map, the bike, and interact, we have also got a trainer card hotkey now. So if you press T on your keyboard, it'll pull up your trainer card, shows you all your badges. You can also set it to private if you don't want people in the overworld right-clicking you and looking at your trainer card. You can also click and drag Pokemon up here to flex. It also shows your decos and stuff on you. It shows your playtime, gold membership, whatever clan you're in, how many steps you've taken, how many Pokemon you've caught, how many level ups you've done, how many Pokeballs you've thrown, how many casino tokens you've earned, how much how much money you've grinded from kill grinding, how much XP you've gotten from kill grinding, how many different skill levels you've got. So for fishing on level 52, 1.8 million XP, which is crazy. How many encounters you've done, total encounters, how many shinies, how many legendaries. Currently in the beta, there's only access to 2 legendaries, which are Articuno and Moltres, because their feathers drop. But I imagine as they go on, they'll add more. Moving on, you can see how many Pokemon you've seen, how many you've caught, how many you've owned, which is different. There's a big difference on that. How much the Pokédex also actually shows you how much of a shiny dex you have. So if you're a shiny dex hunter, for whatever crazy reason, I don't know why you would be, you can track that as well. And then it shows you tournament stuff, battle queue, clan wars, and then credits, which is always private. So if you've donated, let's say $1 bajillion to the game, and you have 69 credits or something, in return for donating $1 billion, that'll appear here as well. Again, this is always private. People won't know until, if you're a streamer, you show it on stream. And like I said, you can always just make your profile private. Moving on, we've got a skill tree, which currently not in the game. So I assume that's going to be for the new hunting skill. We have no idea what's going into it. No hints as far as I know. It's just going to be, as far as I know, something similar to RuneScapes or old school RuneScapes Slayer tasks, where you have to kill X amount of a specific creature and you'll get points for it, which I assume as you're doing it in PPO, You'll get like a certain amount of EXP. Like let's say you get a task, you get assigned a task for killing 100 like water Pokemon. You do that, and as you're killing them, you're getting, it can be literally any water type, I would imagine. But as you're killing them, you're getting XP for your hunter skill, as well as like the rewards for just killing in general. Moving on to the next hotkey, inventory still works. The inventory looks a little bit, let me drag this out of the way. Inventory has been completely redesigned. There's actually tabs now. So you can go through, if you want to sort by just balls, you can do that. Just potions and consumables. I assume this is, yeah, this is all consumables. You can do that. TMs, just TMs, HMs. Held or Pokemon specific items, I believe this tab is for. So you see stuff like, or no, this is held items. My bad. You can see that, you know, there's light balls, King's Rock, metal coats, berries. I've even got a feather of Moltres here. And if you hover over stuff, it actually tells you what it does, which is pretty cool. This is key items, so this is stuff that I would imagine you'd get from completing the main storyline, quote unquote, from the Kanto region, at least the Kanto region. I would imagine that Johto, Hoenn Sinnoh, and Unova, and maybe Kalos, who knows? All of the key items that you get from completing those storylines end up in here. You can not... Excuse me, I had to cough there. You cannot delete these items, because... Oh, you can delete cut and surf. Okay. But all the actual like key storyline items you cannot delete. Here's your mounts section. You can toggle between these by double clicking, and it in real time shows it. This would be your decoratory slot, and this is everything that you have your favorite. So let's say I wanted to add a great ball to the favorite. Boom, great balls have been favorited. If you want to remove them, boom, they're gone. Moving on, settings, you hit O, it brings up the settings. Moving on to a couple, or that's pretty self-explanatory for the settings. Moving on to another negative criticism is the autofill DM. If I were to receive a DM in game right now, I would grab, normally like if you played PPO, your default response to try to respond to this person, it would be /R, whatever your message is. That's no longer a thing. You now have to hit F11 to talk to the last person that messaged you. And if you want to talk to somebody that you just sent a message to who's completely different from somebody who just sent you a message, so let's say I have person A who just sent me a message, I would hit F11 to respond to them. But if I'm also talking to person B, I would hit F12 to be able to talk to them. The hotbar system, self-explanatory, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then you have emotes. You have a whole bunch of emotes. I don't really care for the emotes. I'm probably never going to use these. I wish there was a way to toggle these off. There probably is. I might have missed it or skipped over it. I'm sorry if I did. You can let me know and roast me down in the comments. I don't care. Don't think these need to be in the game. At the end of the day, I think they're kind of annoying. However, there should be, instead of like a hotkey section for each individual one, there should be a hotkey setting to bring up like a wheel, and you can like favorite, kind of like how League of Legends has in their ping system, you know what I mean? Like a hotkey where you press it and then you can like select from a wheel whichever emote you want to use. So that's goes over all the new settings stuff. Moving on to high scores. Finally, high scores are back. Everybody can rejoice. So it tracks everything from experience, Pokemon, tournament wins, clans, and individual items. I imagine there would be more tabs for here for like most unique items, because I know a lot of people want like most unique items farmed. There is currently most money in the game and most casino tokens earned. And surprisingly enough, somebody actually did hit the jackpot on the beta, and then they won 3,000 afterwards. Not like it does anything, because none of the items actually work in the beta as of right now. But starting with experience, it tracks Pokemon experience. So this is what you're going to get from kill grinding. Currently, I'm in 3rd place. Small flex, I know. But these other two people, they use GM. I don't. It's neither here nor there. But moving on to trainer XP. Now this, I have no idea exactly what this is going to be used for. There's fishing EXP, which obviously tracks your fishing. There's mining EXP, and then there's also hunting EXP, which nobody has yet. Mining is also not in the game, so everybody that has 500 mining XP, it's from a quest, which I don't even think you can complete right now. Moving on to the Pokemon tab, there's top catchers. So this is your dex. This is where your dex is going to be. Currently, I don't know exactly how many Pokemon you can get without using boxes. There's not a whole lot because I haven't rolled any boxes. I've just been going to swarms. There's top shiny catchers. So somebody, it looks like Problem is in the lead because I think this is an admin account, but Problem's in the lead at 62. So they've encountered and caught 62 shiny Pokemon total. And then most legends. So most of these numbers are inflated because there was a bug with the feathers giving like 1 and 2 legendary encounter rate, which is kind of crazy, but you know, that was fixed. So some of these numbers are inflated, but in the live servers, this will show how many legendaries somebody has caught. There's also most ERs encountered. There's just most encounters in general. So very cool. Tournaments, I would imagine that this would be most tournament wins, most tournaments played, most tokens farmed, something of that nature. Clans, this would be where you'd see the most top performing clans in the game via clan wars, maybe even map control. And items, like I said, this will probably end up tracking like most unique drops, as well as most money, casino tokens earned, stuff like that. Moving on to achievements, doesn't work currently. Trainer card we've already went over. Clan stuff, you can create a clan. However, you can also view recruiting clans. If a clan is recruiting, you will see exactly like what the requirements are here, how many members they've got, the name, and what their clan tag is going to be. And you can scroll through the pages. If you see one you like, you can just click apply. I'm not exactly sure what that entails because I don't want to join a clan on the beta. I'm not willing to experiment and, you know, fuck around, find out, as they say. Going to PvP, this tells you all the all the clauses, all the rules, all the ban lists, especially, and you can also click down here if you want to say, like, let's say, what's the rules for Ubers? What are the bans? The only clauses, bans that apply to Ubers are the global ones. So you go back to global ones. Whoa, no way. So all this stuff is banned in Ubers. Let's say I wanted to go for Little Cup. All this stuff is banned. All these moves are banned. It's very helpful in case you don't know, so that way you don't have to ask in English chat, like, hey, I can't enter the PvP arena. It's saying I'm blocked for XYZ reason. You can just come here and be like, oh, that's why. PvP clauses, this is pretty much just copied from Showdown. It also tells you the tournament schedule and what times, which is very nice, so you don't have to ask people. It also goes into further explanation of UU, OU, self-caught, Ubers, monotype, stuff like that, which there was a never used, I believe, coming soon. There are NPC trainer battle rules because those got recently switched up last summer or last June, I believe. So you can no longer use like focus sash, permanent, and standard. You can't use red cards, you can't use bright powder, you can't use focus bands. You also can't use specific abilities, you can't use specific moves, so you can't just like cheese your way through the game. Moving on to battle queue, this tells you or this brings us new information on battle queue and how that's going to work going forward. There's going to be a rotating tier and constant random battles. There's also going to be a casual queue where you can just do whatever, test out teams if you want, but I sincerely believe that you probably should just be playing in the rotating tier and random battles. Like, there's no reason to queue casual unless like you and a buddy are trying to like just test a team that you can't test on Showdown. Also, every 2 months, a new season will begin. Rewards are given out for final placement. Rating is reset, and the rotating tier changes to a new tier. Possible tiers are OU, UU, RU, NU, and doubles OU. So, doubles enjoyers, rejoice. This is coming eventually. NU enjoyers, rejoice. This is also coming eventually at some point. Now, I don't know if we're getting tournaments for NU. I don't know if we're getting tournaments for doubles OU. But that would be very interesting to see going forward. And then it just tells you about rating decay. The rotating tier, currently it's overused in the beta. But you can't actually queue. You can't queue. You can't view the leaderboard. Like, none of this works. Tournaments, clan wars, and usage stats. Not exactly sure what these tabs are going to do in the future. Usage stats obviously is going to show you like the most used Pokemon. In like, or there will probably be like under tabs. Or there'll be like tabs like these underneath usage stats, like for each different tournament style or clan wars. Like, hey, people tend to use like Hawlucha in OU, like a lot more than, let's say, like Slowbro, for example. And you kind of get a feel for what people are running, what people could be running. There will probably be move sets, held items, stuff of that nature along in those tabs. So that's pretty cool. You can kind of get a feel for the meta that way. Moving on to the PvE tab, there is a lot of information in here that I don't really feel like going over, but it tells you the rates. It tells you if there is a boost to the rates. Right now, everything is 10x that can be done. So experience, fishing, the money rate, the drop rate, the encounter rate, the shiny rate as well is boosted. The legendary rate is boosted. And it even tells you if you're leading a Pokemon, like let's say, like I've currently got Slacking in the front. However, if I switch to here, Doug Trio, it tells you if you hover over it, like what it does. It tells you 2x battle rate and times 0.5 money rate. So it cuts your money in half at the expense of being able to encounter faster. Going back to the tab here, it tells you what the rates are for your map currently. So if I were to put honey down, these rates would change. If I were to put a shiny lure down, they would change. And then also if you're, let's say I'm an AD, if I'm in Ancient Dungeon grinding, there would be map specific drops available. You could see legendary baits. You could probably end up seeing the Clam Pearl items. I believe King's Rocks, Dragon Scales are in there, along with Coronet Rocks. Trying to think if there's anything else that's specific to Ancient Dungeon. By the way, that's not the point. If fossil shards were to actually be working, currently they would show in Cerulean here. They would show here because I'm in Cerulean Cave F4. So I'd see Amber Shard, and I'd probably see the drop rates for those. Moving on to items, you can search through. I'm not going to go through every single page of this, but there is some interesting stuff in here that we don't have in the current game that you might want to take a look at. Just for an example, did you know that earlier this year in 2025, there's supposed to be an anniversary Eevee mount and a shiny one as well? I didn't know that until I started looking through all these pages. But there is a lot of information in these 80 pages. Like, for example, there will be a lure. So requires level 5 fishing. You can put that on your thing, and it reduces the fishing time for the little mini game. Like how it reduces the time and for the mini game to pop up. Moving on to skills. Currently, like there's a skill guide for all of them. For fishing, like this is what all you can access and at what levels, like where you can fish, what you can get, what lures you can use. It doesn't tell you what bait you can use yet. For mining, this is not in the game. This will probably change to, the pickaxes. And for hunting, this, I don't even think you can use Gold Rod. I don't even know if there's going to be a specific item that gets added to the game where you can use it for hunting. But it just gives information on exactly which one can be done. Here's your quests tab. If you click on them, it tells you like where you can start the quest at, and also the coordinates. So I believe if you type /coords, that still works. It tells you exactly like what your coordinates are, your X, your Y, your Z, and what map you're on. So if you go to Mount Moon Main, and then follow the coordinates there will be a mining vendor. Spoiler alert, he's not actually there in the beta. That's why I haven't completed this quest. And it also tells you like what rewards you can get. So I've already completed this. You get an Aerodactyl for free. Completed this. You get some Pokemon that you can choose from. Or completed this for beating some Pokemon or beating some trainers on a route. Or sorry, answer a question about Brock. This is the one where you can... this is the one where you beat the trainers. This is where you beat a whole bunch of different Pokemon. This quest was actually unique in the fact that once you accepted this quest, there were some NPCs that were Pokemon, if that makes any sort of sense, that were wandering in Viridian Forest that you had to go up to, you had to interact with, and then you had to beat them. You can't catch them, but it's a very interesting take on a new type of quest. I'm very much looking forward to more of these styles of quests being added later or in the full release. This gives you an overview of the elites in the game, which you have to beat Kanto for. Currently, they're not in the beta. I don't know exactly why. Maybe they're bugged. Maybe they just weren't added. But right now, they're not in the game, and kind of thankful for that at this point. when you click on the Legends tab, it tells you exactly, I believe, in order, chronologically speaking. So like Gen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like how you can get each one, where they are from, like what their cost is, and how you can encounter them, or if they are in the wild, or if any alternate methods as well. Moving on to swarms. This tells you exactly how swarms work, what the rates are and stuff, what drops during a swarm. It also tells you if there's a current swarm active or when the next swarm is. So you don't have to keep on asking and getting the same boilerplate answer 3 to 6 hours after the last one in English chat anymore. There's actually a timer that tells you. Now, moving on to Gold Rush tab, this isn't here. I would imagine it tells you when the next one is, like what all can happen during a Gold Rush, what the drops are during a Gold Rush. Same for Altering Cave, same for Battle Tower. Now, Field Boss, I don't know if this is going to be the same as World Boss. It's not. Okay, answered my own question. Field Boss and World Boss are going to be different. World Boss, I imagine, is going to come back with Godot at some point, reworked to be a little bit different. You can't do the same things. Field Boss, I don't know exactly how that's going to be different. I know they talked about experimenting with like ERs as possible, like world bosses. So maybe there'll be like less stronger world bosses in forms of field bosses that you can farm during the week. World bosses are great. However, I imagine when they do return, the Hunter, the Growth, and the Rare and Greed charms in the casino token store will be removed, so that way people can farm world boss and probably try to get them as well. Map control, this will probably detail exactly what map control is going to be like. And then dungeons, we've not heard anything on dungeons as far as I know. I'm very much so looking forward to this. I hope it's kind of similar in vein of something along the lines of like World of Warcraft dungeons, where like there's an easy, there's a, you know, a normie, and there's kind of like a more difficult / challenging one. Each one gives you rewards based on difficulty and, you know, participation, all that kind of stuff. And it allows you to progress your team maybe a little bit, so you can take on more and more difficult raids, and maybe there's like weekly lockouts, stuff of that nature. I don't know, I'm just spitballing off the top of my head. Those are things that I would personally like to see with these dungeons. Moving on to the friends list. Friend list has been changed. The online list does not get updated in real time. They'll fix that. But ignore list, if you wanted to add somebody to your ignore list, it'll say you've ignored them, or it'll say their name and how long you've ignored them since. The online list, there's only 2 of us on right now. If you go to your friends list, I currently have 2 friends. They'll tell you when you added them as well. So you can have like, oh yeah, well, I've been friends with so-and-so since 2016. Obviously, I won't say 2016, but, you know, just as an example, you can still add people. You can still add people to your ignore list. We already went over the inventory. If you'll notice, there is a new trade chat, or you can also create a custom chat. I don't know how many custom chats you can create. I remember they talked about maybe having more than one, but there is a new help chat now. So in case you have like any questions about stuff that you don't really feel like looking up on your own, you can always ask here. Be like, hey, how do I, you know, where do I find a Shedinja, or how does Shedinja work, or how do I get a Shedinja? Does the nature stay the same as the Ninjask when I get one in the party? Is it random? Does it have a shining chance? All that sort of stuff. Currently there are no like 600x maps. Oops. The only one that's available in the game is this one, but I don't even think you can get 600x Pokemon. What else is a change? Oh, let me do an escape rope here really quickly to talk about escape ropes. So when you double click it, it'll tell you the last place you've been. So I'm going to Cinnabar with this. However, there's like a little animation. Whereas in the main server, you click it and you go straight back to PC. I would like that to be changed to just be the same as the main server, because why is it taking 18 years to get to a PC? Also, a change is that there are slot machines in every PC now. So if you want to, let's say you're roping for whatever reason, you're like, I could gamble 100k, just go do it really quick. The PC system has also been revamped to be more similar to Poke MMO, where you can only fit like X amount of Pokemon in I think it's 50 in a box. You can also sort them by name, ability, nature, and if they're whether or not they're holding a held item. Currently, mine is all like filled by a whole bunch of junk that I've been using for decks. Currently, as well, if you catch any shiny Pokemon when they go to your PC, they sparkle a little bit. Personally, it's not enough of a sparkle for my taste. However, I can imagine that it would probably be bigger if I had a bigger UI or like a slightly bigger UI. But currently, as it stands, I wish it was just like a little bit more like pronounced of a feature. You can buy new boxes. You can buy more boxes. I don't remember what the limit is off the top of my head, but it does cost money. I believe this 6th and maybe even 7th box, I think this was like 10k. I think the 7th, or maybe you get 6 boxes. The 7th box was like 30k, and now it's wanting 60,000 for the next one. Also, just to test the sort thing, if I wanted these sorted, it would be Starmie then Venusaur, but they would appear up here. So it'll also ask you to confirm whether or not you want to sort it. Pretty nice feature people have been asking for. Just as a quick demonstration. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to complain about. Old man yells at cloud type stuff. When you enter and exit a building, there's this delay here that is really kind of frustrating when you encounter it like all the time. In the main server, like it's shorter, so it's more tolerable. But in here, it's very kind of annoying. Just to show a proof of concept really quickly, I know we're kind of flying through stuff here, but I don't really have a whole lot of time, and this is all just going to be uploaded in one long, giant rant. I'm going to show you what world bosses may potentially look like in the future. So you come over here. There's only one of these in the game right now, and we're coming up on it. So this is what world bosses are potentially going to look like. Just a giant animated thing. You can't really interact with it. You can kind of just walk over it. All of the maps have been, I believe, not redone, but they've been ported over here from Kanto. Everything looks perfectly fine. Oh, another thing to go over, actually, sorry I skipped this, is that you can bring up a Pokemon summary window. And if you'll notice, they're a little bit different than what we have in the game. You can nickname your Pokemon now if you wanted to. It costs a little bit. There's a warning saying that you keep it appropriate, because you could get banned or you could lose the privilege entirely. In my opinion, I really wish that we would go back to this style of, or in the future, I wish we can go more of a similar route to how the main servers are, just because it's more familiarity. I know that they've said that they want to do a complete like UI overhaul to that, so that way it looks more like this on the right here, rather than like this, which kind of reminds me more of Poke MMO, which I don't like that game. Let's not go there. Tells you the stats and stuff, tells you the IVs, even what hidden power you are, what Pokeball you caught it in, what gender it is, because we finally have genders in the game. It even tells you like what EVs you have. When you're in a Pokemon Center, you can reassign your EVs. However, you have to manually type them. When you go to your moves, you get 4 moves. However, you'll notice it's a little bit different. There's no 1, 2, 3, 4 to just quickly change. There's little arrows now, which I'd like to see the 1, 2, 3, 4 come back. You go to move bank, you can just like click which slot you want to send this to, and then you can move it around from there. And then if you wanted to release it, there's a release tab rather than just like a little release button. Now, if you do release this, it'll pull up a confirmation just like how it is in the main game, and you can confirm whether or not you want to release it. What's another thing to talk about? Oh yeah, breeding is now finally in here, which let's do that really quickly. I'll do a quick overview because I haven't experimented with breeding too much. Also, when you're doing this, you can't really interact with menus. So let's go ahead and find the Pokemon breeder. Right now, I don't know if there's going to be one in every single region that has a daycare service, but as far as the one for Kanto goes, it's in the same spot in the main games, which is just below Cerulean City. There is like a little Sorry, there's a secret base here. You can't really read it, but you can experiment with making your own maps. That's pretty cool. They moved the shiny merchant right here because there's obviously no Sinnoh or battle zone. So let's go ahead and get to the breeder really quickly so we can talk about the breeder. If you've made it this far into the video, comment what the most hyped thing you are hyped about for the beta. Let me know your feelings on this style of content, I guess, and you know, what you would want to personally see as well come from the Godot beta or Godot update in the future. So this is the Pokemon breeder. You can put a Pokemon here. They have to be the same, I believe it's egg group. Okay, so the mother slot requires, you know, a female. They have to be the same rarity, and they have to share one type. So let's say, well, you actually can't get this out of here. Let me, just as an example, let me grab Crawdont, because I know I have a whole bunch of Crawdonts in here that I want to breed. So 31 speed. Also, let me put some stuff away here. So, can't deposit anything while you're searching for something. So let's put some of my party members away here. And grab a Crawdont. So this one's got 31 speed, which is what we want. Where's one with 31 attack? Do we have one of those? Here's one. Alright. So we do this. There is a gender change service. So if you wanted to change the gender of one of these, which you're probably going to have to more than often, it costs $5,000. Not too big of a deal in my opinion. Oops. Let's talk to the breeder. So now I have a female that's ready to breed. I've got a male that's ready to breed. However, you will get a baby child. I don't remember off the top of my head if this counts for Dex. If you wanted the shiny one, both of the parents would have to be a shiny as well. There's not a role if one of them is shiny or not. And as far as I know, there's not a role if the parents are non-shinies. You can't get a shiny Pokemon from breeding two non-shinies, and you can't get a shiny offspring from one parent that is shiny and one parent that is not. So currently as it stands, the cost is free. The IVs will roll between these numbers, which, you know, not terribly. If you wanted to save the nature for any of these, you would lock it. However, it would cost an Everstone, a single Everstone. Currently in the beta, you're given 10,000 of the Everstones and 10,000 IV resets. The IV resets break down into IV powder. So currently we want, or which you would need IV powder to lock the stats. So we want the attack for this Corphish to be 31. We want the speed to also be 31. The nature doesn't really matter because we have an adamant one in the box, which we will then do. So if you wanted to breed this, boom, here you go. This is what you would breed. However, I will caution you in saying that the ability will always be random, as well as I believe the gender. So as it stands, you can only lock 2 IVs. So breeding like full 631s is going to be a little bit more challenging, but it is doable. However, it's very like resource intensive, and I personally wouldn't recommend doing it. Just try to find like, you know, 2 really good Pokemon with like good IVs, like this one, and like this one probably with like a better, or like this one like you see how this has shiny IVs. This one's fine. This range is acceptable and stuff like that. And another one that has like, you know, damn near shiny IVs as well to breed with. So that way you have decent stats with the offspring. So we're going to go ahead and breed this. Boom. Both of the Crawdonts that we had are gone. Poof, released back to the wild. As far as I know, the shiny Pokemon do not, if you breed 2 shinies together, they do not give you orbs. So just be mindful of that. And boom, we now have a bold Corphish that is 3131. So we go back into our PC here, search for Crawdont. We are just looking for an adamant one. So boom, there we go. Now we have to talk to the breeder again, after we change one of these to male. Talk to these again. The male or the mother has to go there, father has to go there. Now we lock this, and again we would have to lock the we would have to lock this, and then we just pray for good rolls, I guess, on this. So it costs an IV powder, or what? Oh, you can only lock one from each. I didn't know that. Oh my god, we're learning together, okay? That's a bummer. Well, at least we'll keep the 31 speed on this. That's actually tragic. You can only do one. Huh. You can only lock one thing from each. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to work or how it's intended to work. Because I always thought that you could roll, or you could lock 2 IVs and the nature as well. Okay, well, we're learning together. All right. So go ahead and breed. So now we have an Adam 31 speed, 27 attack, which that didn't roll too awful. But yeah, that's how breeding works. Nature is always going to be locked if you have it locked, but the ability will always be random. So go back to box 2. We have a shell armor. So if you, I don't know what this evolves into, but if it's not adaptability, you'd want to ability capsule it. So I will caution you there that if you, regardless of if you have 2 of the same ability things, they are going to be completely re-rolled into something different. Moving on to just my general thoughts and feelings about the Godot beta. I do like it. I believe it is a step in the right direction. Because Unity did like this whole thing. You can Google it if you want. It was in 2023. They did like this thing where they're like, hey, every install for Unity is going to now charge like the developers and stuff and blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, hey, what the fuck? And they walked it back. And so I'm pretty sure that's why we're moving to Godot in the first place. I do believe that Godot is going to be the future for PPO, and it's going to be a lot of fun to play on. Currently, right now, it's a lot of fun to play on. It actually reignited my spark to want to be able to grind the main game. Just because, like, it reminds me a lot of classic PPO, to where, like, there's no special encounter box that pops up. So you actually kind of have to pay attention. I was actually talking about it on stream the other day, which I do stream. The link will be in the description if you want to come check me out. I stream off and on. It really depends. But if you want to go drop me a follow, that'd be great. I was talking about it on stream of this experience I had where I encountered an ER the other night while I was looking at my left monitor instead of my main monitor where I play the game on. And I saw my name pop up out of the corner of my eye in chat, and my head instinctively like whipped around, which I have not had that happen since we've moved over to the Unity client with this pop-up window. And it took me way back to when I first started playing the game, and it gave me such nostalgia that it completely reignited my drive to continue grinding in the main series game. So I hope they completely do away with the pop-up window. I know a lot of people like it. I know a lot of people want like that to be customizable. Personally, my feelings on it: shouldn't be in the game. Pay attention if you're going to play the game, or otherwise that's on you, big dog. I'm sorry to say it, but that's kind of on you if you're not going to pay attention to the game you're playing. As mindless as the game can be, it's on you to ultimately pay attention, right? But yeah, Godot has been fun so far. I'm hoping that in the future, as like more and more content gets added, like let's say they add just Johto, a whole bunch of content gets unlocked in Johto. When they add Hoenn, a whole bunch of content gets unlocked in Hoenn. I hope they kind of just piecemeal it out over time rather than just this one beta test for however long this beta is going to be into boom, everything gets wiped on the beta, which everything will get eventually wiped on the beta. And all of our stuff will transfer over, and then you can kind of just fart around on the beta from there. As we move into Godot being the actual live thing, I hope they piecemeal it out over time, and by the end of 2026, everything's in the game, everything's working, everything's been tested thoroughly, and going into 2027, Godot becomes the official game engine of PPO, and it actually works, and everything's there, and then we can just focus on, minor bug fixes, since there probably won't be a lot of those, since they've been tested over time, right? I'm trying to think of anything last minute that I have a gripe with, and honestly, I can't really think of anything. So if you have any criticisms of the beta as it stands, do let me know in the comments. My overall take on the beta is that it is a step in the right direction. It's still got a long way to go. This is a very bare bones proof of concept that is very, very good in my opinion. But like I said, if you have any valid criticisms of the Godot beta, let me know in the comments below. I will read them and I will respond to them. If you have any questions as well, leave those down. And yeah, I think that does it for the review of the Godot beta. Let me know what you think of it, I guess, in the comments. Just comment literally anything, man. Boost that freaking YouTube algorithm, I guess. But that's going to be all for me today, talking about this Godot beta. I know I said I'd grind both of these, but I didn't really, because I've just been rambling and stuff. But huge shout out if you made it to the end of the video, because yeah, this is the end of the video. And like I said, I do stream the game. If you want to catch me live, click the link in the description as well. Come say what's up. Hey, I found your YouTube video. I'd be more than willing to have like a conversation about stuff there if you want. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.